I think there is 2 points in your question. The first point I will make focus on the migrant woman, or the mother of the migrants, everywhere in the world, even if they are not black women. But all of them are suffered of discrimination, marginalization, poverty, and also they cannot help to grow up their own children. That's why they are in difficult situation. And when you are a migrant mother, you are afraid your child could die during the migration. And even if you succeed to get in Europe or in other country, you don't know exactly what could happen to him. That's why certain women, mothers, have decided to help the child to not migrate, to stay in their own country. And for that, they decide to work at the humble level as a fisher, making some markets with fish, something like that, to cook and to help their child to go to school and to learn, and to better stop their will of exile for economical reason or what, environmental. But at this point also environmental, I remember some women in Senegal, close to Saint Louis. They are now fighting because with the environmental crisis, they are absolutely affected by this environmental crisis, and they are fighting with their own hands to try to stop the sea to eat their village. And they are doing the job because all the men are migrants and outside of their village. But also, the second point is how Afro-descent women are targeted by this unique racism based on Afrophobia, and they are suffering not only from the racism, but also because there are women, sometimes alone with child or children, and without jobs. And also, for some of them, they are veiled. That's why all this kind of multiple form of discrimination affects them. But it's not one after one. It is the intersectionality all of this kind of discrimination that affect them very violently. And we have to be aware about that and to take care of that, because the intersectionality is something very important. And most of the time, we decide to focus only on one point and not on the gathering of all these points. That's why they are in a the Afro-descent women are in a very difficult situation. They are stigmatized, but also assault, because they are women and white women or even black men decide they could do what they want with this woman, because they are black, they are poor, and they have to fight for preserve their dignity, and more than the other people. It is one point.
Okay. In your opinion, how is your expectation about the black
The
Afro-descendant decade?
Okay.
Especially the work that United Nations should be, and the state members.
Mm-hmm.
The
It
members.
it is a big expectation, of course, because the main goal of the decade is not to gather all Afro-descent together. It's to eradicate racism. And it is not the first decade. It is the first decade for people of African descent, but it is not the first decade for tackle racism. It is the fourth. And that's why we have to be prudent and also very realistic. Because tackle racism is supposed to change the paradigm of domination. And I am not sure we could succeed to get that, because the state don't want to lose their power and their domination, and specifically the Occidental states. They don't want to see their power shared with others. Otherwise, it would be happened long time ago, because the independence is not from today. It's 50 years back, and they push on the former colonized country to adopt their Occidental model. And if they did not adopt this model, they are being declared as terrorist state, corrupt state, and whatever horrible things. That's why I think there is a lot of expectation, because the situation for people of African descent is inadmissible regarding international human rights law. But I don't know how we could reverse the process. That's why 10 days is not enough, 10 years is not enough, but it could be the way to make some change, or to orient in a certain point the policy of domination. If we succeed to do that, we could just open the door for substantial change. I am not sure, because I really think there is no will from state for that, even from state from Africa, from African continent. I'm not sure they won't see change their model. I'm not sure, because they take advantage of that. And I'm not sure Brazil does want, even if the Afro-Brazilian population is most important than the Euro-Brazilian population. The Euro-Brazilian population don't want change their power and don't want to give their power to the others. That's why I think it could explain also the violence of reaction. Because if you terrorize the people, they are so afraid they will stay where they are, invisible. But if the decade could tackle more or less this invisibility, this structural and systemic invisibility, it will be an open door, and we have to keep it open with all our forces. Because really, the situation here in Brazil, but in US, now in Europe, and even in certain Asian country, or even for certain in African country, it's enough is enough. And I think the history of trade slave, enslavement, and colonization and colonialism has to be stopped definitely. The consequences of this history has to be stopped and changed, because we need to see people of African descent not to be longer victims or victimized, but to be actors of change for social transformation. It is my expectation for the decade. Maybe I am too utopist, but I think we need also to dream. We need to assume our utopia if you want to change the world. I don't have message. I think we have all of us. I don't have really message, but I think we have to build the message all together. United, we will be stronger, and we need to all volunteers, all forces, all women, all persons, even child, to try to break the cell of glass upper our head.